With 2021 officially in the books, we're about 10 days removed. The Philadelphia Eagles are now having their sights set on the playoffs. Nothing else matters. Everything that happened in 2021 no longer matters. Our record doesn't matter. Nothing. It's all about this next game. But I wanted to have a little fun with last year. So I went ahead and I asked a couple of my friends and some guys you may know what they wanted to remember and what they wanted to forget, one negative, one positive from this last year. So we're going to get into that. This is a little bit different from what we do, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get into it. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So like I said, today we're going to go through a couple of these videos that my people sent me, just to kind of tell me how they felt about last year. And I asked them, the main question was, give me a quick video on the one negative and the one positive that you have from coming into this season. So I want to hop right into these videos, man. And first of all, thank you to everybody that sent me these videos. Really do appreciate your time. I was asking people during, New Year's, and I just now getting around to making this video. So appreciate your patience, and I appreciate your time. I know it was probably very hectic during the holidays, so appreciate your time to send me these videos. But I'll stop talking. Let's get right into this. Now, I'm going to be honest, I had my girl kind of mix all these. I had her download all of them and mix them off of the Twitter when they were sending them to me. So I'm kind of watching it brand new with you guys as well. I am excited. Let's get right into this, man.
One good thing and one bad thing about the Eagles.
Shout out to my guy, CK
Let's start with
Birds.
the bad. I'm sorry. I don't want to pile on him because I feel like a lot of people will use him. Jonathan Gannon, okay, he's not had a good season. He did well enough for us to make the playoffs, but I'm sorry, he's probably the worst part of our team.
And to I don't want to stop these too much. I kind of want to let them run, but to stay on Jonathan Gannon, because I do feel like his name is going to get brought up a lot in this. I think that what he said is kind of perfect. He did enough to get us to the playoffs, and it's a good question because I was just doing a live, and they were saying, did Jonathan Gannon do enough to stay as our defensive coordinator? And I think that's the answer right there. I think that the organization is going to look at this team and look at the progression of the defense when you were able to get rid of Eric Wilson and kind of start getting stuff going as far as that goes. They're going to look at that and probably say he might have done enough. Maybe there's enough development there. So, something to keep in mind, but I'll keep it going.
Of our team, you know what I'm saying? Struggled early in the season. All right, the good thing, our run game. I mean, come on, that's the easy answer. I feel like a lot of people going to use that one. So let's go with the Flower press conference. I was wrong. I was laughing at it when Sirianni said, oh, we're like flowers or whatever. And it worked. Okay, we've been amazing since then. So there you go.
That's my guy, CK Birds, man. I appreciate him doing that, man. Huge Madden YouTuber. A big inspiration for me starting this channel. Been a really good friend on here, so I appreciate him taking that time. Look, the Flower press conference, I think that we made a lot of jokes about it, obviously, like he said, when it first happened, but looking back, it looked like it was the spark we needed. Maybe it was just funny enough that the team kind of stuck behind it and it stuck with them, but I have no idea. But it was awesome, and it is beautiful that he brought that up. Again, thank you so much to CK Birds. If you are not subscribed to CK Birds, definitely go on over to his channel and check out his stuff. He got some amazing stuff, and he's an Eagles fan, so you really can't, get any better than that. Now on to the next one.
Happy New Year, Philly the podcast, and to everybody out there listening right now. So, one positive thing that I have noticed from this coaching staff is the fact that they connect with players. The development is there. They're trying hard to work with these guys. We got Nick Sirianni having Friday meetings with the quarterback, Stoutland meeting with the quarterback. We got Brian Johnson moving down to the field to work with the quarterback. They're connecting with these players. One negative aspect.
Now, before he gets into his negative, that was a very good point. That's a very good point. We talked about all off season, and shout out to my guy Stephen Hyder, Gay City Sports, man. Also another amazing channel. If you guys are not subscribed, I highly recommend you guys go check them out. What he said about the connection, man, we talked about this early on in the year that could have been a negative and or a positive. We didn't really know yet. We didn't know if having such a young roster and a young coaching staff, if that would mesh, if that would turn into a playoff team. And, you know, I'm happy to say that we are proven wrong. For those that have said that it might not have been, or that it was still obviously just an early year, I still believe that. But at the end of the day, we were able to go out here and make the playoffs. So I love it. That's a very good positive to bring up. I'll let him get to the negative now.
Aspect that I have witnessed from this team in 2021, I'd like to see improve going forward in 2022. The coverage. I still think that there's some issues here, and I think we got some issues going on at safety. I like the way Epps is playing, but coverage is still an issue with this team, especially the depth that we play inside of our zone against better quarterbacks. All right, guys. Thank you all so much.
That's another great point. We've talked about that on this channel, man. Safety is a spot that I think that I've even neglected to a certain degree, that it is very important. I've seen some subscribers, some people that talk in the chat saying that they would go safety as early as first round, as early as their first pick. I'm not against that. I think that we need to get playmakers on this defense, and the secondary is a big part of that. So I'm with everything that Steve said, man. Again, great channel. Definitely, I definitely suggest that you go over there and subscribe. Very, very mindful of what he speaks. Very smart football fan. So I appreciate him taking the time to do that. So let's get on to the next one.
I think for me, the biggest positive this Eagles season is the fact that they were willing to change their offensive strategy and really utilize the identity we know they should have for the past couple years, starting with Miles Sanders, you know, running the ball a lot more and just using a guy's skill set to their advantage. I believe Miles can be a 1,000-yard rusher every season. The guy is very talented, and we finally gave him the chance to do so, and he's been a big reason that this team has been able to turn around. And Nick Sirianni's willingness to adapt has shown a lot of growth and improvement since early in the season. And on the other hand,
now, before he gets to the negative, shout out to my guy RB. RB Philly Take, man. Philly Take with RB is one of the guys that I connected with early on my journey on YouTube and has become a very good friend of mine. Obviously, definitely, I think all these guys, man, I suggest their channels. These are all guys I rock with. My girl did a great job of putting everything together. This is fun. But either way, no, shout out to RB. Thank you for taking your time. And that is a huge point right there. We said this, and it kind of stems back to the defense as well. Jonathan Gannon's unwillingness to change is the one big thing, one glaring hole that I feel like we're all looking at and saying needs to change. But him saying that Nick Sirianni showed that willingness to change is completely true. We saw a total 180 and a total shift after the first 8 weeks going into the second half of the season. Obviously a huge shift that was able to propel us to the playoffs. That's a huge point, and not just a running game from this year. We're talking about years upon years that Eagles fans have wanted to see us run the ball more, and I think this is the first time that we can really realistically say. And even in 2017, when we were third in running, I could have sat here and said we could have ran the ball more. And I think there were games that we could look at, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs game pops off at my head, you know, that we look at the game and we look at Carson Wentz's attempts and it was above 35-40. And that's not what we wanted as Eagles fans. We love the run game. We love the just dominance of the offensive line against their defensive line. And, you know, like he said, their willingness to change it around and finally give us what we've all been asking for is an amazing thing. So that was a great point. Let's get to the negative.
Negative about this team, although Nick has been able to adapt and, you know, really change things up, Jonathan Gannon, on the other hand, still shows me signs of warning, you know, not blitzing enough, not bringing enough pressure. I know we have a lot of playmakers on this defense. I want to see Darius Slay attack different receivers. I want to see him up on the ball, and I want to see guys like Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, even Brandon Graham. I hope he comes back healthy. We need to give these guys help so that they can come out and make this team better as a whole and really just make us complete on both sides of the ball. So I hope Jonathan Gannon continues to learn and grow just like Nick Sirianni did.
All great points. All great points. It's funny that, like I said, I didn't watch all these, so it's funny that I was saying the Jonathan Gannon. I connected it before I even was able to get to his negative. Maybe I should just let him play. But it's true. It's 100% true. You know, we look at that, and that is a huge negative, especially on Jonathan Gannon. Even with the winning streak, even with, you know, going whatever it was, I want to say 6-2 in the last 8 games, or 6-3 3 in the last 9, something like that. It was something like that. So at the end of the day, you look at that, even through that, the numbers of him wanting to blitz, while they went up, I think it went from like 40 in the first 7 weeks to 70 in the second half of the season. It's still not enough. I still want to see him going and blitzing against good quarterbacks and making tough decisions and putting his defense in position to make plays. As RB said, we got playmakers, and it's time to utilize them. It definitely is. But those were great points. We'll get to the next one, man.
Nation, let's start off with the bad things. This team saw some trials and tribulations. They started off fast in the beginning of the season. They had their bumps and bruises. They tanked a little bit. We saw some hard times. We saw the team struggle. We saw the team, find their identity, which is a good thing. We've seen Jalen Hurts develop. We saw this coaching staff develop. We've seen our team get to the playoffs. So whether you like it or not, some Eagle fans will be like that. Like, we're in the playoffs. We're playing playoff football. We're in the dance. So it's time to dance, like my man Lane Johnson said. So go Birds.
Yes, sir. I love it. Shout out to my guy, Gail Sanders. Another one, man. Another guy that early on in my journey, he me and him got together and just like connected automatically. I've done a lot of shows with him. We actually got to see the game together, the preseason game against the Patriots. Really cool dude, man. And I love what he said, man. It's 100% true. And I think that's a broad spectrum. I think that's a huge broad spectrum of what he did there, and I like that because he didn't just single out one player, he didn't single out one position. While all the other points are very, very valid, I don't want to take that away. What he says is 100% true. We went through a lot this year. The first 8 weeks felt like everything was, falling apart. It felt like all these national media guys were right. Felt like the Eagles just did not have the team that we hoped that they would in the offseason. And then we see the second half and we see development. We see changes. We see, people getting cut that we were asking for. We see a different philosophy that we were asking for. We see all this stuff. And it's true. It's a complete 180. We see our quarterback that is the stalwart of this offense. If he does well, then this offense can go very far in a lot of different years. I think that we're a perennial competitor if Jalen Hurts is that guy. And we saw him develop. So like I said a million times on different shows, I'm not going to sit here and say, he's the franchise guy, go give him $40 million a year. But I think that he showed us enough to go out there and fight another year. So I agree what he said. And obviously the making the playoffs part, that's even better, right? That's the cherry on top. That's the cherry on top. We went through a lot, saw a good draft, right? We saw a good draft. So I love that one. Now this last one, I'm gonna give my opinion at the end, right? I'm gonna give my opinion at the end. I'm gonna give you my one negative, one positive. But also, I wanted to go and get another guy that's been a really good friend of mine. I was trying to get some Dallas guys, but unfortunately they were a little bit busy. And I wanted to get this out soon. So I got my guy George Carmi from Washington Full Press, and I wanted to ask them because I know it's been a rough year for them, and I wanted to ask him a negative and a positive from this year. So I know that he's last. That's the only one I know, and I didn't watch this one. So again, trust me, this is all new to me as well.
What's up, everybody? It's George Carmi from Full Press Coverage Washington, and I'm here to talk about the 2021 Washington football team and things that went well and things that fell apart. In regard to things that I'm happy for with Washington last year was the rise of Jonathan Allen. He basically was a third defensive tackle in the NFL in regard to sacks. He had 8.5, which was a welcome surprise coming off a 4-year, $72 million contract. He just came into power as a captain, as a leader for the team, and he's going to his first Pro Bowl. So the rise of Jonathan Allen was a pleasant one for Washington. In regard to the biggest disappointment was our defense altogether. They just lacked cohesion, and we had, the thought this year was for our defense to lead the way and to smother the opponent's offense, and that fell apart to the tune of being the 32nd ranked pass defense in the league and just stumbling across every single game after game. So hopefully next year Washington come together and kind of tighten things up on the defensive side and have a better 2022. See you guys later.
Hey man, I will say hopefully not, right? As Eagles fans, hopefully they don't come back next year and do better. But that's my guy, George Carmi. I appreciate his time so much, man. And that was a lot of fun. So I know I told you that I was going to give you my one positive, my one negative. It is my turn. I made everybody else walk the plank. It is my turn, right? Look, I'm going to start with the negative, all right? I'm going to start with the negative. The negative to me is that I don't feel that our biggest strength is still our biggest strength. Our defensive line, I felt, showed that they are no longer as dominant as they have been. That can change in this offseason. That can change with maybe a scheme change. But I feel this season, while they weren't terrible, I don't want to say they were the worst in the league. They were close to it in some pressure stats. But I don't want to say they're the worst in the league, but they were very disappointing. It wasn't what we thought they would be. And that sucked to watch, because I was one to sit here on these shows and say that our defensive line is going to be the anchor of our defense and that they are going to, go out there and create pressure, and that would set everything else up for our defense. That didn't happen. That disappointed me. But look, the positive, man, is that we are a team that is figuring out who we are. I don't want to repeat what anybody said, but I feel like everybody was spot on. We are finding out who we are. We're figuring out what this team can be. And I think that, I'll even add on to that. I think that Howie and Jeffrey kind of took a step back this year and kind of are letting Nick Sirianni figure it out. I think they're letting Nick Sirianni figure out what he wants to do. He's given Jonathan Gannon enough leash to be able to tell him, listen, these players aren't working out. Let's get, Eric Wilson. We look at that and making some tough decisions that are for the betterment of this team. So I love to see that. I love to see that. But, I think positive is the whole season. We're in the playoffs. We're not a team that should be in the playoffs if you look at all the predictions and all the thoughts from, preseason polling and all that. So we're not a team that was supposed to be here, and I think you got to take pride in the fact that we are. So you guys let me know in the comments, man. I want to hear it. I need to know what is the one positive and what is the one negative that you look back on 2021. I'm about to say 2021. All right, I need it in the comments. Negative and positive from 2021 for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're a Cowboys fan, I know we got a lot of Cowboys fans in here. Washington, whatever team you rock with. I want to hear your negative and positive from last year. And shoot, if you want to throw in what you're looking forward to in 2022, that would be beautiful too. But other than that, man, y'all know what it is. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace!
Everywhere, this is for
you. Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.